Hey guys, so today I'm working on some personalized can coolers or can koozies. You can see here what they look like. I actually purchased these at Walmart, and currently I have seen some people reporting online that they are finding them on clearance for as low as $1 per unit or per koozie, and they are in the camping section. So the set that I'm working on today is actually for my husband and some of his friends as a personalized gift. So I'm not going to be making them too elaborate or too detailed. Having said that, I'm going to go ahead and get started with my design. So I'm going to be using some of the images that come with a font set. And when you go and purchase a font set from a place like an Etsy seller or a place like fontbundles.net, like sometimes you'll see their images bundled with the fonts. So I'm going to be using one of the images for this design today. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my text tool and then click on my mat. And the font I want to use is called Mermaid Tails, and the actual title when it's installed is KL Mermaid Tails. So I'm going to go ahead, and you can see it's already selected up there at the top, but because this is one of the special characters in the font, I'm not going to be able to just type it on my keyboard. So I'm going to go ahead and open the textile panel, and I'm going to select this little fancy A in the middle, the glyphs panel. And I'm going to be using this anchor. So to use it, I'm just going to go ahead and click on it, and it's going to open up there. And this is going to be basically the main image. So here I can make it bigger, but one thing I'm noticing right away is that this box is not a true measurement of its size, or true in terms of relation of size. So I'm going to right click and ungroup it, so that I actually get this a true box. So with it selected, I'm going to go ahead and make this bigger, and I can go about close to 3 inches tall and 3 inches wide because I actually measured the item, but I'm going to keep both sides under 3 inches, and I'm going to tilt it just a little bit. And then next I'm going to add a name. So using the same font, this one is for Vic. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and make this bigger, right click, and then select ungroup. And that way I can weld and put these letters together the way I want them to appear. So this looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead, draw a box around all of them, right click, and then go to weld. And then while this is still selected, so I can move all these things at once, I'm going to right click again, and I'm going to say group. So now I can make this small because I'm actually going to stick this in this little opening. So I'll have to make this a little bit smaller. So there's my final design. So I'm going to go ahead and click send and send this to the Silhouette to cut out. Here I have my design all cut out, and I'm just going to do a little bit of weeding. And this design is actually not too difficult to weed. I just have to remove the larger rectangular piece and then a small part of the anchor on the inside. It's just the little circle that is captured inside where you would tie the hook or the rope. This particular name doesn't have any closed images, so even though the name is cut super small, there's nothing inside of there that I will have to weed out. So I've set my weeded out design aside, and I'm going to start preparing the can cooler, and I'm going to tape off the base where the seam is of the actual can cooler and cover it completely. And this is going to make the bottom match the top, and it also gives a place for the clear cast to kind of catch on to inside that groove. So once I have it lined up with the seam of the actual can cooler, I'm just going to wrap it around and press it down really well. My next step is actually to prepare the can cooler for transferring my decal. So I'm taking a little bit of cleaner, and in this particular situation I'm just using Windex to remove all of the oil that is on the can cooler from my fingers and any dust that may be on it. And I'm going to take the design that I already cut out and weeded and attach a piece of transfer tape to the back. The transfer tape that I use is actually already cut into these 3-inch wide strips, so I just cut it off the roll. And to make sure it adheres, I'm going to rub all over it frequently, just back and forth, so that the design picks up all at once and I know that it'll be a clean transfer. Once the design is on the transfer tape, I peel it up and off of the backer sheet and then apply it to my can cooler. And because this is a curved surface, I make sure to go over each of the sections really well so that there are no air bubbles and no places for the resin to go underneath. And when I peel away this transfer tape, you'll be able to see the design on the can cooler. I'm going to be covering the can cooler using the amazing clear cast resin, and it is a 2-part clear coat mixture. So in a cup I've mixed a equal part mixture of part A and part B, and I'm going to be using it to cover the entire can cooler. So I have this rotisserie type cup turner that was created using an actual rotisserie turner from a grill and a piece of foam, and I have inserted my piece of foam into my can cooler and turned it on so that I can go ahead and pour the resin mixture all over the can cooler to seal the design. As the can cooler turns, the clear cast will slowly start to level itself out while it's wet, and this is one of the important steps to actually take when using this clear resin, is to keep the cup or the cooler, whatever you're working on, continuously rotating so that it levels out. You can use a spoon or something to try to smooth it out, but you have to be cautious when you do that because you can get air bubbles in your design. Now you can see that I'm just wiping the excess material on my mat. This surface is actually a non-stick mat that I stuck underneath before I started, and after everything dries, those little plastic driplets will actually just pop off, so the mat won't have any damage on it. The clear cast resin will actually take about 2 days to completely dry, but about 4 hours into the drying process, I turn off the actual turner and remove the tape because it's still wet enough to get a clean line, but it's dry enough so then it will no longer run. And I usually leave it running for about another 2 or 3 hours before I just simply set it on a shelf and wait for it to dry before I remove it off of the foam. So here is a look at the final product. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.